All right, so let's jump right in. Today, we're going to peel back the layers of a company's digital front door, its website. We're taking a look under the hood of Ames Tech, which is a big name in Pakistan's outsourcing scene, to see exactly how they're telling their story to the world.
And they kick things off with a pretty big promise, right? Right there on their homepage, it says, "Convert your dreams into reality." That's a powerful statement. It really sets a tone of aspiration, of making big things happen. So what's the actual business behind this dream?
Well, it's business process outsourcing, or BPO. And just so we're all on the same page, BPO is basically when one company, say in the US, hires another company, like Ames Tech, to handle a specific part of their business, like customer service. It's a huge global industry.
So that's where Ames Tech comes in. They're based in Pakistan and have been in the game since 2009. They position themselves as one of the country's leading BPOs. And their main thing? Customer support. You know, handling all those calls, chats, and emails.
Okay, so we get what they do, but what about the why? Beyond just being a service provider, what does Ames Tech really claim to stand for at its core?
So let's get into the heart of their corporate identity. Turns out they build their entire philosophy around one single central idea: relationships.
So here's their vision, and it's pretty simple, but it says a lot. Business is based on relationships, and building relationships is at the core of what we do. This is them saying, hey, we're not just an outsourcer, we're a partner, a connector.
And their mission flows right from that idea. It's not about just closing tickets or hitting call time targets. They say it's to help you better understand and connect with your customers. Again, it's all about that human connection side of business.
And they break this down into 4 key principles. Basically, figuring out exactly what clients need, making sure everyone benefits from the relationship, having high integrity, and delivering utmost satisfaction. These are the pillars they say hold up their whole vision.
And to give it that personal touch, they feature this quote from their CEO, Asad Javed: "Hard work puts you there where good luck finds you." It's that classic motivational message, right? It kind of grounds all this talk about relationships in a foundation of pure hustle and effort.
All right, so we've heard the big ideas in the philosophy, but how do they actually make it happen? This next bit is all about the how.
So they basically pitch their delivery model as 2 sides of the same coin. On one side, you've got advanced technology, all the tools to get the job done right, but on the other, you have friendly support, the human side. And in the BPO world, this is a really big deal. You can compete on tech alone, or you can compete on the quality of human interaction. Ames Tech is making it clear they're aiming for both.
So what does that actually mean day to day? Well, they deliver for the main channels you'd expect: phone calls, both in and out, live chat support, and managing emails. And the really crucial part that holds it all together is that they're available 24/7, 365. I mean, that's pretty much the baseline expectation for any serious global support company.
If a company talks a big game about relationships with its clients, you gotta wonder, what about its relationship with its own people? So let's take a look inside the company culture they're promoting.
So this is what they're offering to people who want to work there. They point out practical stuff like a transport allowance for everyone, but also a real focus on growth, things like on-the-job training and a clear policy of trying to promote from within first.
And then there's this. This is a really specific and pretty notable policy. Ames Tech says it has a women empowerment initiative, and as part of that, they offer an additional 5% in salary to all their female employees. That's a direct financial commitment. So who are they looking for to join this team? This chart from their careers page is, well, it's pretty revealing. Of course, English skills are at 100%, that's a given. But look at what comes next. Hard work at 90% and a can-do attitude at 83%. That tells you a ton, right? They value your mindset just as much as your skill set.
Okay, we've heard the story they tell, the philosophy, the culture. Now for the stats they use to back it all up. This is their story, but told by the numbers.
First up, they've been around for a while, over 16 years. And in a fast-paced world like BPO, that number is meant to signal stability and experience to anyone thinking about working with them.
Then you've got the sheer size of the operation. Over 5,000 people. That's a huge number, and it's their way of saying they have the capacity to handle pretty much anything you can throw at them.
And what about their reach? Well, they claim over 100,000 satisfied customers all over the world. This is their evidence, their proof of a global track record.
And finally, we circle right back to their people. Over 300 successful training batches. See how that reinforces that whole idea we saw earlier about training and developing their own team?
All right, for this last part, we're going to dig into something most of us just scroll right past, but it is so important in this day and age, the privacy policy. How does Ames Tech say they handle your data?
So their policy mentions all the big names, GDPR in Europe, CCPA in California. We've simplified it here, but what it really boils down to is this. You, the user, have defined rights. The right to get copies of your data, the right to get it deleted, the right to object to how it's being used, and, if you're covered by CCPA, the right to tell them, do not sell my data. It's standard stuff, but it's a vital part of the deal.
And all of this, the mission, the culture, the numbers, even the fine print, it really leaves us with this one big question to think about. How does a company's public identity, from its mission all the way to its privacy policy, end up shaping how we perceive its real-world impact? It's a good reminder that a company's website is way more than just information. It's a story, a carefully constructed narrative.